Hello, beautiful beings. I'm so excited to join you on the 8-8 Lionsgate portal energy. I'm in Glastonbury. I'm at home, and I just got this intuitive feeling to send you an energy blessing and talk a little bit about what is the Lionsgate. Lots of people have beliefs around what they feel the Lionsgate is, and as we know, it's the sun in Leo, which always happens at this time of year. And I think it started from sort of the end of July, and what's the word where it penultimate of the 8th, but it's also the alignment of the Orion Belt and Sirius Stargate energy. But on top of that, remember, we're very powerful beings. We can put a spin onto any alignment we want. And this is about the return to the heart, about being in our hearts. And if you want to share in the comment section about what you've experienced today, how you felt, I had a return to grace, because sometimes we are not always in the most graceful space of being. And I had a beautiful client this morning, and continuing a theme that I've had in the last 2 years, which is I have attracted a lot of Indian clients in person that come physically to see me in person. And they've been Sikhs. And it's been a really beautiful exploration with these beautiful beings of their experiences. And today, the lady had the experience, which I give to many clients, and it's really reflective of where you're at in what you experience in the regression sessions. Everybody is where they're at. There's no right, there's no wrong. There's just having your experience of clearing a past life, if that's what you need to experience, or healing some inner child, if that's what you need to experience, or some ancestral story. And then what I love, and often for everybody, it's a culmination of all those things. But today, this lady had this beautiful experience, which I love when it happens. And they go to this place, I call it the Temple of Sacred Knowledge. And it's a place where they meet these benevolent beings, of really high frequency beings. And, sometimes they might say where they're from, but in general, they're just benevolent, really beautiful beings who've come in with enormous wisdom to share, and the simplicity of the wisdom is the return to the heart, and saying, when I ask these benevolent beings who speak through my client questions, like, how is it? And, what is it? And I always ask them questions as if I don't necessarily know the answers, even though I kind of sense that with their level of consciousness, I kind of sense what they're going to reply. And it's just a state of grace and being. And they talk about, I ask, can you heal your body? Which of course I know you can. And they're like, yes, everything that stops people from this is their own, layers of fear that stop them from returning to the heart. And, we have many layers of fear. And, I often talk about being a diamond, and I have this gorgeous diamond sometimes I show you that I bought many years ago. And I talk about, we might have no fear in one facet, but in another facet, we've got a lot of fear, and we've got to process these facets of fear to return to the heart, to return to love, and to return to the peace of being. Now, I also looked up, because it is about the Lionsgate, I did look up that apparently in Jerusalem, there are 8 Lionsgates. And I may pronunciate these slightly wrong, but there's one called Jaffa, Zion, Ding, Golden, Stevens, Herod's, Damascus, Newgate. And there is talk. I'm going to have to get a glass of water. Hold on 1 second. The good thing is that I'm stood in the kitchen, so it's quite easy to reach. And I've got no water at the moment. So sadly, I will have to drink the tap water in this instance. But I don't think it really matters always. It's our intention, that I bless the water, My intention is that the water is going to be good for me. Same with all of us. You know, we can have the best of intentions sometimes. I'm sorry, hold on one second. This is the thing about life. That we get a little tickle in our throats. Oh, that feels good, isn't it? It's really nice to have a glass. And also, have a glass in a nice glass. I got these in a charity shop. Aren't they pretty? And they're really carved, proper crystal glass. So back to what we were talking about with those gates. So I read that there were talk of 12 gates, sorry. So what does it mean? It's kind of, you know, what do we want to get out of it? Because these are gates outside of ourselves. But the truth of it is, we have these inner gates within ourselves that we've put there ourselves, you know, through our beliefs that we have. And it isn't just fear, it's, you know, anger, guilt, shame, all these different beliefs. But the energies at the moment are trying to assist us to release this. And of course, people get cross with you when you don't necessarily want to believe the negative agenda and story that they're running. And we've all had that experience of getting sucked into a story that's very negative for us. And now we get this opportunity to go into a more positive timeline and set our intention, you know, to hold that peace and grace and being. And I just practiced that this evening. I went to the open air swimming pool where I go, and I thought it's going to be quite busy there. And I'm going to hold my space of grace as I swim through all these people and stay in my own bubble. And that's what you can do. You know, you can practice your state of grace and being in situations where potentially it's like you're weaving between all these people, but hold your energy, hold your vibration. You know, people, the other interesting thing is, oh, bye, you've got to go. I don't know what he's saying. You see, this is the thing. People get triggered. You know, oh, I live on a council estate. Da, 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 da. I have big utility bills. I have, you know, this is someone in the comments section. And you know, my grandmother was one of 15 children. Sorry, my mother was one of 15 children before we even had help from the government, you know. And if you want to stay in that consciousness of, you know, your story, I know people who are very, very happy in where they live. I have people who don't even have the luxury of living in a council house. They don't have the luxury of living in a council estate. Even in this country, I have friends who are living in a shed, and not even a glamorous shed, a shed at the bottom of their parents' gardens. And they are in a state of grace and peace and happiness with their intention of what they're doing. And they're not young. You know, my friend is in her 50s living in her mother's garden, but she is in such a state of grace and peace. And her intention is to save money to buy a motorhome for herself. So, you know, everybody has their story. And if they don't want to listen and they get triggered, you know, that's their choice to do that. Everyone can either be happy in their situation. My mum, with her brothers and sisters, you know, who lived when the, you know, 11 children predominantly in a, what was it, two bedroomed house with a box room, you know, and they survived. And I never saw, my mum passed away last year, and I never saw my mum moan or complain or talk about how hard it was in her childhood. And it really must have been hard. I know from the other siblings. And of course, it's how you frame your story. And my mum used whatever skills and gifts emotionally she had within herself to get out of that situation. So when I see people writing these messages, I have compassion and empathy for them. But my life no matter what I give to them will never be enough, because you have to do this inner work on yourself. You have to be the change you wish to see in the world. So this person doesn't even know my life, my story, and they're already projecting their victim story onto myself and onto us who are listening. And we can have compassion and we can have empathy for them. We don't have to go in their story. We're here to help people rise beyond their stories. And everybody has free will to get angry, to react badly to people, to project at us. And usually what you find is, as your vibration increases and you get to hold that vibration, because sometimes things happen and we get triggered, but as you hold that vibration, there will be people who will be triggered because you are the mirror to which they see themselves, and they're going to get very triggered by that, very triggered by that. And so we cannot be responsible for how their life is. We can show them the skills and gifts and tools and spiritual wisdom to go inside ourselves, which we're all going to do. And I'm going to bring in a light language to help all of us today. So let's just we'll remove that comment because it's of no use to us, and it's only going to not help any of us staying in that energy. So I send all of us love, and if anyone has any question or wants to share with how they've experienced this energy of the 8/8 Lionsgate portal, I'm sure you all have some wisdom to share about your own experience, or how you've navigated your ways through challenging times, and how you feel the energies, and how easy or difficult you find it to go inside yourself and to connect with that multidimensional version of you that is, a profound wise being, which is in all of us. It's not anywhere outside of us, it's inside all of us. And sometimes we can reside in that for years, or sometimes it's hours or minutes or weeks. It just depends on the ability to hold that space of grace. And of course, things come in from the left and to the right, things that trigger us, but it's how able we are to return to our center. And it was beautiful to hear the messages of the benevolent beings today when they came through my client, and we're just talking about such simplicity, but because it wasn't coming from a human, like myself in physical incarnation, it's not so challenging and provocative to people because it's coming from somebody else. But when it's a physical human often saying these messages, we get very challenged by them, and we get triggered. And that is the gift. If you can see that you get triggered by something, that's the gift to help you go into your heart and to remember the wisdom of who you are and all the lifetimes you've lived. Like my client today, she had to go back to a past life because she'd said she got some issues with her throat, and we saw her in chains in a past life, a very terrible lifetime, really destitute. She felt medieval times, and she'd been accused of something and chained up, and not a very pleasant end, and she died in her cell having that experience. And we had to release that lifetime, that she's not in a prison now, her voice can be heard, which is a lot of the work that I'm doing, is going into your subconscious mind and giving you permission to find your voice and to rise up and to have the power to stay in your truth and to speak it. And that even if people want to disagree with you and squash you down, you can keep rising up with that frequency. And we'll bring in a light language now for that. So let's just close our eyes a second and just bring that energy in. So just closing your eyes and harnessing this galactic star alignment to help us, because everything is working towards trying to help us. I know it doesn't always feel like that, but it really is. Ilaratakuya, ilataya, mokuya. Isaratakiano, uromokuya, ilaratakamokuya. Ularo, Elara takamakuya. Estara takamakiana. Elara. Tokuro. Sutukura makiana. Elara. Return to the heart, return to love. Even if at this time you can just hold that energy for a few minutes, it's remembering what it feels like to be in that space of grace and peace and being. And of course, there are things in the world and things that happen to ourselves and loved ones, and we can be empathic, but the highest wisdom is to not go into their negative emotion, to have empathy and compassion, but hold a higher frequency, which will help other people. Holding that higher frequency is like putting a rope down to a tunnel to help people out without going into the tunnel, because you'll all get trapped, you'll all get lost sometimes. It's holding that higher frequency in our hearts of love and being. And if you want to share how you experience that light language, maybe just pop a comment in the little section here. Let's see if anyone's put any questions there or any comments. And they're harvesting now, so everything is being harvested in Glastonbury here where I live. It's really beautiful. The sun's beautiful. I've got plums, I've got pears, I've got lavender, I've got rosemary growing, and I've come into alignment to that reality. And so that's really nice just now. So, and sometimes you can find noises outside of yourself annoying, but the trick is to find a way to shut out that external noise that is very annoying and come back into the space of grace within ourselves. And of course, all the stories that are running in our subconscious linked to these other lifetimes and trauma from childhood, because a lot of the work that I do is working with our inner child to heal those bits that we don't always know. We don't know that they're there. It's just sometimes it needs somebody like myself to help you find those bits that you need to heal, to change the story that's running in the subconscious, because remember, the subconscious mind's running about 98% of our reality. Oh, Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Lisa is saying that it felt like her third eye. She felt the sound in her third eye. And Michelle said she's felt it's really good. And oh, hi, Selena. I saw you yesterday as well, Selena, when I was with Danny. Feels like a warm breeze, like summertime. Oh, thank you. And oh, a lady's got some parrots, and she said her parrot stopped chirping to listen to you. Did they sing back? I bet the parrots can do light language. Send me a video if your parrots do light language, because I have clients whose dogs do light language. I do the light language, and then I hear the dog going, oh, 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 in the background. I had one particular client for ages that her dog was a Chihuahua, and it used to sing light language. It loved it. And a lot of people tell me their cats love light language. Laurie's saying she's got tingles all over her head. Oh, hi, Pam. That's another one of my lovely Sikh that I was talking about earlier. Oh yes, Heather, I'm going to upload it so you'll be able to watch it from the beginning. So, you know, we are such powerful beings. So every day can be an 8-8 Lionsgate portal in your heart if you want it to be. You know, you can set that intention for yourself. It's just a nice energy because everybody else is in this frequency of returning to the heart, returning to love, realizing we're so powerful we can release, you know, these pains in our bodies, and that people are going to project negativity at you sometimes, and you have to rise beyond it. You don't need to live a lesser vibrational joy and happiness just because someone else isn't able to embody the vibration you are. Um, you are here to show by your example of living your highest joy and expression of yourself. And if they choose to do the inner work and follow, great. If they don't, you can't, you can only offer as much as you can. And there's a great saying that says, you know, this is why I think that the idea of it being a mystery school came, you know, because when you, like I'm doing now, I'm streaming this live, anybody can listen to it at varying levels of consciousness. They're not necessarily interested. So when you make it more of a private thing, and an investment means that people who come are genuinely really interested. They're not here to just dismiss it and be rude and horrible. So that's why I think the idea of mystery schools came, because the great saying around the mystery schools is, do not cast pearls before swine, which means that, you know, the great wisdoms that you have to share and embody and help people, if those people are not ready to hear that, they will just try to trash the wisdom, trash the knowledge you have to share. And so many people in the last 2 years have told me, you know, in their awakening, uh, they're shocked that, you know, their immediate family don't necessarily see things the way they see it, and although they've tried to explain it to them, they still don't see what they have awakened to see. But just let people have their reality. You can only, as we're often say, you can only plant seeds of consciousness of people. um, you know, you're not necessarily there to water the seeds, you're just there to plant the seeds and let it go. Let go of the expectation of what sharing your wisdom might or might not do for those people. And yes, let's see if anyone said anything else. So thank you for your messages. My intention was to spend 20 minutes doing this because I think sometimes it can be too long. Because we've all got busy things to do, and you've all joined me, which has been really beautiful and nice of you to join me this evening. And thank you for enjoying the light language. And remember, I've got lots of other videos, and I do see people in person. I am doing regression sessions in person, and I do work on Skype daily to assist you. And if you've enjoyed this, there's some information below if you want to support my channel. And we keep offering the light languages. So I send you much, much love and many blessings from sunset time, because the sun's setting now, over the Isle of Avalon. So much love. And remember, we are all empowered with way more wisdom than we realize. And there are some new videos on my YouTube channel that you might like to see. There's one of my plums in my garden. There's a beautiful interview that I did. And I'm going to be doing another interview with my lovely friend who wants to describe George, who wants to describe himself as a autistic, which he is autistic starseed. And there's some great knowledge and great interview that we shared on my channel below. And then I am going to be doing an interview with one of my clients that I had a few years ago, which was I think one of my first clients that I helped with their birthing process of their child. And I went through a phase of attracting a lot of women who were very close to their due date. And in Ireland, if you go over your due date, you have to have a cesarean. So a lot of women did not want to have a cesarean, and they were on a very spiritual journey. And so I worked with them to help them clear the blockages emotionally between them, the baby, the father, any siblings. So I'll be sharing with a client that I'm going to be interviewing about her experience with that and how that all works. So look out for that interview that's going to come soon. So much love. Thank you all for your gorgeous comments. So many blessings, and have a beautiful evening. And remember, we are more amazing and more positive than we sometimes allow ourselves to be, because, you know, somebody will come in and try and take you down. Don't let people do that. They don't have permission to do that. You can, my favorite phrase that I'm always saying to people is observing, not absorbing. Just observing. Oh, look at that, the light. When I did that, the light got brighter. Observing, not observing, not absorbing. So repeat after me. I'm observing, not absorbing. Observing, not absorbing. It's such a great mantra because it really sets an invisible shield between people projecting negativity at you and you staying in your own higher frequency vibration. So thank you for your beautiful comments. Much love and many blessings from the Isle of Avalon. Bye for now. Bye.